everybody. Well, this past month, it's been a strange one. And if you don't work at one of the essential businesses that are allowed to stay open, like me, you've been at home a lot. And that may mean that you're spending all of your time with a few other people, or possibly you're all by yourself. Any social events that we had planned are canceled, and we're told to isolate as much as possible to stop the spread of the coronavirus. And that's why today I wanted to talk about ways that we could all better manage the isolation that we are experiencing. Because it's really hard. And if we are already struggling with mental health issues like anxiety or depression, or really any mental illness, the lack of in-person therapy, support groups, connecting with others can make our symptoms and struggles so much worse. Just the other day, I experienced a very strange side effect of social isolation. Fear of other people. I went to take our garbage out and heard someone else in the alleyway, and I was immediately terrified, quickly dropped the garbage in the bin and ran back inside. Now, this person wasn't threatening me or acting strange, not to mention it was like 10 in the morning, but I felt threatened because they could be sick and I could catch it from them, or at least that was my thought process. And that's not healthy or okay. And so let's get into how we can all better deal with all of this social distancing and isolation. Oh, and I just wanted to add this in, because just the other day on the news, I heard psychiatrist Dr. Christine Moutier share how she thinks we need to stop calling it social distancing and start calling it physical distancing, because we can still be social. We just can't do it in person. And I liked that distinction and just wanted to mention it here too. Okay, so my first tip for dealing with isolation is to start small. And what I mean by that is, instead of thinking that we need to set up a Zoom happy hour with friends and we need to connect with our family and do all the things to become social, pump the brakes. Let's just start with some small steps. Maybe the first thing that we could do is text one friend just to ask how they are, or reach out to a family member to see if they would like to FaceTime later in the week. Breaking things like this into smaller, much more achievable steps helps keep us motivated and empowered. So try to notice if you're feeling pressure to do all of the social connection things at once. And remember to focus on something small that you can do today. And I know that it's possible even the thought of contacting someone is just too much because our anxiety is just through the roof. Instead of trying to reach out now, maybe we take a small step towards calming our system down. And if you didn't know, I already put a video out about managing the anxiety, as well as one about dealing with panic. And I will link those down in the description so that you can use those tips to help with what you're experiencing first. My next tip, and something I've been trying to do this past week, is to create a flexible schedule. Some of us work best at night, while others prefer really early mornings. So make sure you keep that in mind when you set this schedule up. Don't feel any pressure to start work at 8 a.m., especially if you know you don't do well at that time. Also, let's set up weekly goals that are reasonable for us. Maybe that means we hope to work out or move our body 3 times this week. Or maybe our goal is to reach out to 2 friends. While getting back into work is important, it's also important that we plan for time off. We didn't normally work 24/7, so why should we feel the pressure to do that now? Especially with all that's going on in our world. It's expected that we won't be able to do all we normally do. I know, people are online talking about organizing their whole house, learning a new language, reading all the books. But it's okay and normal to instead be struggling to sleep, feel anxious all day, and not be able to focus. It's important now more than ever to focus on ourselves, how we're feeling, and then decide what we can manage that day. That's why I said flexible schedule. I don't want anything feeling like it's written in stone and we're bad or not good enough, we don't get it done. See how you're feeling, and then try to tackle your day and figure out what on that list you can actually do. Not to mention that comparing our days to someone else's isn't helpful. And I would even encourage you to mute or unfollow those accounts until we get a better handle on all of this. Since isolation and loneliness are closely linked to depression, my next tip is to increase our positive self-talk. I know, I talk about it all the time, maybe too much, and you're probably sick of hearing about it. But it's so vitally important. If we are allowing our thoughts to pull us down into a dark place every day, it's no wonder we feel terrible, right? Pay attention to these thoughts. What are we saying about ourselves, our world, our situation? If they aren't positive and compassionate, let's use our bridge statements to move them into that direction. And if you don't know what I'm talking about when I say bridge statements, I'll walk through a quick example with you right now. So let's say one of my most common negative thoughts is, I'm so lazy and worthless. If I've been thinking that for a month, or maybe I've been thinking it for years, I can't just all of a sudden try to tell myself, oh, I'm so productive and important, because I'm not going to believe it. Instead, I can use bridge statements to get me from that negative thought into a more positive one. Bridge statements live in the possibility, leaving us open to considering a different way of thinking. For this example, a bridge statement could be, it's possible that I'm not as lazy as I think. Or, I am open to the possibility that I could be important to someone, maybe at a future time. We can build on these as we move towards a more positive thought. So keep at it. It does get easier, and we will start to feel better, I promise. And I have an entire video about bridge statements if you want more information about that specifically. And my next tip is to offer yourself some loving touch. And no, I'm not talking about masturbation, although I did read an article that shared how having an orgasm releases oxytocin and endorphins. So, also if you're in a, loving and consensual relationship with someone that you're already in quarantine with, do what you want, go for it. But what I really wanted to talk about are things like rubbing your feet, rubbing your shoulders, maybe giving yourself a facial massage or a hug. We seek out physical touch from other people to help soothe our system. But that doesn't mean that we can't give it to ourselves when we need it, especially right now. One of my childhood friends used to tickle her forearm with her nails in order to help her go to sleep. Maybe give that a try. I am way too ticklish for that particular example, but that's just one way of giving yourself some loving touch. And I also read an article about why it's so hard for us to stop touching our faces right now, and that by putting our face in our hands, we're soothing our system. When you feel overwhelmed, you're like, so maybe wash our hands and face really, really well, and then allow yourself to rest your head in your hands. That could help too. So I don't know, give it a try and let me know. And finally, remember you're not alone. In fact, this is the one time where everyone else in the entire world understands what you're going through and are possibly feeling the very same way. Checking in with other people online can be validating. Seeing how other people are coming together to deal with all the stress can be soothing and heartwarming. Like seeing people in Italy or New York sing together or clap for their first responders and healthcare workers. It's pretty cool. And we're in this together. I'm in it with you at the very same time. So reach out, speak up, and let's remember, we may be physically distanced, but we don't have to be socially distanced. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye. Because our anxiety is through the roof. Instead of trying to reach out now, we can take a small tips. I'm gonna take a lot of small tips, Sean. So many small tips, I'm gonna make it to the stop.